Hi, I'm Chad, and this is Purple Collar Life, and welcome to the second video in our Tractor Week series. The previous video was all about the RK21 tractor, the RK24 tractor, and most in depth about the RK55, the brand new tractor for this year at Rural King. In this video, we're going to be talking about the RK55 and the RK74, so the big boys of the tractor series available at Rural King. Stay tuned, I think you're going to enjoy it. So once again, I did get this unique opportunity to do kind of a demo day at Rural King because several of you bought tractors in the last month or so and mentioned that you saw those RK tractors on our channel, Purple Collar Life. So thank you so much for that. If any of you buy a tractor in the future from Rural King, or an attachment, or a UTV, we'd appreciate it if you'd mention Purple Collar Life sent you to Rural King. So just like in the video about the RK25, in this video I got to drive the RK55 and the RK74. The RK74 is the largest tractor I've ever driven. It was quite an experience. I've got lots of video. It was a lot of fun. So we do have two of the RK55 here at this Rural King. This has always been the tractor that's been the most impressive to me because I think it's the size range I need. The 37 would also be a nice size range, but thinking about what I have in the John Deere 2210, I think if I'm going to go bigger, I want to go quite a bit bigger. So I think the 55 would be big enough that, Chris, this is something you could run a 6-foot brush hog behind you, no problem, 6-foot tiller.
No problem. This one actually has quite a bit of power. So for your larger implements, you're not going to have any issues with them, even with both the front and rear driven tillers.
Okay.
A lot of people ask me about that as far as, will this handle?
Yeah,
it'll handle them both. Okay.
A tractor like this is quite a bit bigger. What does this weigh? Is this something that you need a heavy equipment hauler trailer?
You're definitely going to need you're going to need to have this hauled.
Okay.
Or have a car hauler.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to fit on your everyday trailer.
And these are 4 tires on the larger tractors. Do they even make the R14s this big?
They don't make the R14s this big.
Okay.
But again, just basic, they are filled. At least the rear ones are.
Yeah.
It's the beet juice.
And these, I imagine, would hold a lot of fluid, so that's probably a lot of ballast back there.
Oh yeah.
Now this one's a shuttle shift. Are you finding that in our area of Northwest Pennsylvania, do people like the shuttle shift better, or do they like the hydrostatic?
In this area, I've seen the shuttle shifts. Once we get into the bigger tractors, everybody wants a shuttle shift.
Okay.
From about the 37 on down, everybody loves the hydros.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer a hydrostatic, but the shuttle shifts, for a lot of the older farmers or the more seasoned farmers, they feel like they can get, it's like driving a standard car, you can get a lot more control, a lot more range with the power. Mm-hmm. So they go very, very quickly. They sell very well. They seem to be preferred once you get into the bigger ones.
And even though these are industrial tires, is this what people like to have out in the fields now? If you're in the mud and stuff, are these okay for that?
I haven't had any complaints from my customers about this.
Okay.
They're aggressive enough that even when you're out in the field, you're not going to get stuck.
Yeah.
You're not going to find yourself in a bad situation.
Okay.
Not like turf tires.
Yeah. So once you're up into the 37s and above, and you have to have that regen system. How does that work? Do you buy the DEF fluid? Do you set regen times?
What'll happen is this has a sensor in it. There's 2 buttons on the dash.
Okay.
And it will automatically tell you the regen will start flashing. And there's 2 types of regen. There's one where you can go and you can keep working. It just runs at a higher RPM, and you have to keep it at that higher RPM until the cycle is finished.
Okay.
So about 45 minutes. And then there's one where you absolutely have to park it. You can't be running it anymore, and you just let it run again.
Okay. So what happens if it starts up and I'm low on fuel? My fuel is at the single bar level. What happens if the regen starts?
You can push that button and reset it.
Okay.
But know that each time that you push that button and reset it, you will lose a certain percentage of horsepower. And then once it gets down to a set loss of horsepower, it will shut off, and you'll have to have a tech come reset it for you.
Okay.
So you can put off the regen, but eventually you're not going to be able to use your tractor until it's factory reset.
Okay. Can you still use it while it's regenning?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're out brush hogging 40-acre field and it kicks in, it's okay to run it while it's doing it?
It's just going to run at a higher RPM.
Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at the cab model. So here we are inside the cab of the RK55 cab model. You can see it's got kind of that automotive stylings, nice interior. It does have a radio. Here's your air conditioning and heater controls. Has speakers as well as vents in front and behind you. There's your draft control and your hydraulic remote controls for those remotes on the back side. Here's the joystick, and you can see it does have that little clicker on it. It's all set up for the third function valve. There's your hydrostatic pedals, forward and reverse. Lights and controls there. And it does have split rear brakes. You can see I'm pretty happy here. This is probably the tractor that I enjoyed the most, was the RK55. We're going to start it up here. I like the sound of it, super impressive. Glad that it's a Yanmar engine. Let's hear it start. Sounds like it just started up a semi. Here's our air conditioning on. You can hear the fans. Still lots more information to come, but if this video has been helpful or entertaining to you in any way, we'd appreciate it if you'd click that like button down below. All right, so we're inside the RK55. A couple more buttons here that I wasn't used to seeing. This one is our PTO on and off, and Chris is going to talk to us a little bit about why you'd choose the manual or the auto control on the PTO.
So with this toggle, this will allow you to, when you have your 3-point on there and you lift it up, with the auto, it'll automatically shut off as you lift it. And then when it's the manual, say you just need to lift your tiller to get over something, or to get you ran over some rope, whatever, you would just use the manual to lift it without turning it off.
Okay. So tiller's a good example of when you'd want to use that auto. Okay. And then on the other side here, we've got cruise, which I'm assuming is when you're in hydrostatic tractor like this, you can access the cruise function and just keep going at a solid speed.
Exactly.
Beside that is load sensing. What does that do for me?
So the load sensing is, if you're going to pull up to a pile of gravel and you're not throttled up high enough, to prevent the tractor from stalling out, the load sensing will automatically give more power to the tractor so that you don't stall out when you're lifting the bucket.
Okay. And then up here beside the flashers is the auto button. What's that doing?
That turns this tractor into a car.
Okay.
It really just controls the speed, the throttle. When you're driving it on straight open areas, you're going to notice a huge change rather than when it's off and you have to manually control your throttle.
Okay. And then down here a little bit lower, we've got an increase and a decrease. I'm guessing that's with your cruise.
Those are your bump buttons for your cruise.
Okay. And then on the left-hand side of the console, we've got this tractor button. What does this do?
That controls the sensitivity of your pedals.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're going to be pulling up to the last final load up against the wall of the barn, you don't want to really over gas it and hit the barn, so you just set the sensitivity.
Okay. We do have split brakes, split drive controls forward and reverse.
And this one is set up for your third function already. You still have to put the third function valve on it, but it is set up, has the trigger on it for the third function.
Okay. We've got wiper and light controls over here on the side. Nice opening windows, front and rear. And then you can see I've got the roof vent open here. That's a nice addition. I haven't seen that in any size lower than the 55 cab, is that correct? Yes. So even though this is a much larger model than the RK25, a lot of those same features and information applies. For example, on this Hydrostatic RK55, it does have the auto throttle. So how that works is the harder I push the forward or reverse pedal, the more it increases the throttle. Now this is perfect for driving applications. Obviously, if you were using a tiller or anything that relied on the engine speed to maintain that 540 PTO speed, you'd want to adjust the actual throttle of the machine to meet that set point. Auto throttle is perfect for if you're driving and not using the ground engaging implements. It's perfect for, if you're towing something, doing loader work. That's where the auto throttle really shines. Here, driving up and down the rows of Rural King, for example, I do have the auto throttle on, so I have my throttle control set at low, but the tractor is automatically adjusting for the demand that I'm giving it through my foot, through the pedal there. The same thing if I were doing loader work, the throttle would adjust using the load control and automatically give me proper throttle levels for the work that I'm doing. Like I said a bit ago, the RK55 was my favorite tractor to drive. In a little bit here you'll see I'm driving the RK74. The RK74 was super impressive, but I could really feel those R1 ag tires. They were a much rougher ride. Obviously perfect for out in the field. If you're out in the field and you're going to be in some mud or pulling some heavy implements, you want that grab and grip of the R1 tires. But for this particular, when I was partially on the roadway here, the R4 was a much smoother ride.
That's another thing that all of my customers like is the bucket leveler.
Yeah, I don't have one of those on my John Deere. That's really nice.
Yeah.
This thing drives just like a car. It's unbelievable.
They're fantastic.
Smooth, easy to do. It's unbelievable. So. Especially with that auto throttle. I don't know why you'd ever turn it off, honestly. Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier.
Really cool.
Very comfortable. So.
And I like the auto backup beeper. It's nice. Safety.
And this does have, it has an external control for the and it's locked for some reason.
To raise and lower.
Yeah, so you don't have to do it from inside anymore.
That makes sense, because if you're out here, you don't want to have to climb in and out every time.
Yeah.
And the bucket lift height is unbelievable. It was above the cab.
I'm glad you got it with full of water.
I know, so I hope they got some good video of me dumping it there.
They're a ton of fun. They're like I said again, they're very reliable.
Yeah.
These still have the Yanmar.
If you listen carefully here, you'll actually hear that auto throttle at work as I'm driving up and down these roadways. Now here I'm taking the RK55S, the Shuttle-Shift model, and you'll see that I'm a little bit nervous here to drive this. I have never driven a Shuttle-Shift before. Obviously I've driven the old 48 and some other tractors where you're using gear selection to drive, but not a Shuttle-Shift style. Okay, so if I go in low or low?
I try high. These are granny geared.
Okay.
So
high gear, first gear,
and then forward.
And Chris had me a little nervous. He said a lot of people stall these out, but I found the clutch really easy to use on this RK55. You'll see on the RK74, it did take a little bit more adjusting. I think I was not used to that amount of horsepower on a tractor, but the RK55 I found, even in the Shuttle-Shift, very easy to drive. I can see why some people would prefer the Shuttle-Shift, especially if you're used to older farm tractors. It's nice to kind of feel that gear engaging and use the clutch. And you do get used to the Shuttle-Shift forward and reverse, just sliding that lever on your left hand. But as far as loader work, I still think I prefer the Hydrostatic, though I do think I could get pretty used to this, and I like how you can kind of feel that ground engaging under the transmission with this. A little bit more feedback than you get with the hydrostatic transmission. And that little yellow foot throttle pedal was pretty cool too, kind of like in your car, where you've already got it in gear. You want to go a little faster, just push that yellow pedal. Not nearly as hard as I thought it would be.
They get tricky.
But there is a major difference between medium and high range.
Yeah. Like I said, they're granny geared, and I like it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, you know, if you're going to be doing some
loader work.
Yeah, that's how you want it. But
and it would take some adjusting to get used to sliding this back and forth to do any pulling into a pile and then backing out of it. But yeah, it's not as hard as I thought it would be.
They're not bad. They're just
and a nice little throttle pedal to. Not as easy as the auto throttle control, but nice pedal. Cool.
All right. So just for kicks, did you want to try the 74?
Might as well while I'm here, right?
Also on these two, the back window undoes. You can undo the back window for a little more ventilation.
Oh yeah, it really opens up.
Yeah. Undoes. You can undo the back window for a little more ventilation.
Oh yeah, it really opens up.
Yeah.
When you start up the engine in this RK74, you feel like Tim the Toolman Taylor. It's like, oh. Here's the inside view of that part where I've got it in gear, letting out the clutch. I'm not moving, can't figure out why I'm not working, until Chris reminds me I've got to flip that shuttle shift lever on the steering column forward to move. Bigger engine with this smokestack sounds great outside, but you can see a little bit of vibration here with those R1 tires here on the asphalt. And the clutch is a little bit more tricky in the RK74 than in the RK55. Certainly easy enough to get used to, but you can feel all that power right through the clutch going through the transmission. And driving this tractor around really makes me want to make more farmland. We do have some big fields here on the farm. Makes me want to get a hay baler, make some hay, till some land. Definitely the RK74 is a farmer's tractor and a lot of fun. Now there are a couple of differences here about the RK74. All the other RK tractors have the 8-year limited powertrain warranty, and I believe they all have the Yanmar engine. This RK74 has a 5-year limited powertrain warranty, and it has the Deutz engine, D-E-U-T-Z. So it's a different engine, different warranty, still an amazing machine. If you're not sure what all is included, watch our other video about the RK55 series. All those same things are still applicable here on these larger tractors. You can pre-order your parts, go in and pick them up for your service. There are transport availabilities for delivering your tractor and taking your tractor for service. They do service these tractors all at the Rural King, and there is even a mobile service tech available to come to your farm or your homestead and do the service work there at your place. So make sure you watch that other RK25 video for more information about RK tractors in general, features and benefits, the Rural King store. That's a serious tractor right there.
Yeah, the power shuttle is a little more sensitive than...
Especially in reverse, I noticed it, yeah. Yep. And I could feel those ag tires. Oh,
yeah. I mean, personally, like I said, this is my favorite tractor.
Yeah. Well, Chris, that was certainly a fun morning getting to try out all these tractors, and certainly never expected to drive the RK74. That thing is a serious tractor for a serious farmer.
She's a beast. She's a beast.
So, great day here. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me and walk through these tractors with us. We're glad that Purple Collar Life has a Rural King right here close by to us in Northwest Pennsylvania. So always fun to come out and see the store and see what you've got.
Well, anytime you want to look at the tractors or you have any questions about our implements, I'll be more than happy to spend some time with you and get you all the information you need.
Great. So you heard it here first, guys. If you've got questions about RK tractors, implements, attachments, just let me know. I'd be happy to come out and meet with Chris anytime and talk through anything you're looking at or considering. Really like the Rural King store, and like I said, glad to have one close by here in our neighborhood. Thanks for watching. If you like videos like this, give us a thumbs up down below. Comment about things you liked about these RK series tractors. And if you're not already a subscriber, click that subscribe button and the little bell beside it so that you get notifications when we put out new videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time.
Thanks, Chris.
That was a lot of fun.
No problem. Glad I could help you. Like I said, if you do have any questions or